Oh, hello. Today we discuss the escalation of ICE violence against civilians, the escalation of attacks on judges, and the escalation of the government shutdown. Hello and welcome back to Life of a Showgirl. Welcome back to Even More News, the first and only show news girl podcast. Should I take that again? I don't think so. I'm Katie Stoll.
Hi, Katie. I'm Cody, and I'm not going to reference anything from Taylor Swift's new album because I respect artists.
Fair enough. Jonathan is also here.
Hi.
Do you respect artists?
I respect artistry and other things.
Okay, Jonathan, what's happening? Tell us some news.
It was quite a weekend out there in the world, and in America specifically. ICE is, they've been ramping things up for a long time, but what ICE is doing out there in the world is truly disturbing. They are out in force in Chicago last week. This apartment building was raided and everyone who lives there was hauled outside and zip-tied, and children and naked people indiscriminately. No one showing warrants, no one caring if you're a citizen or not. Not that matters to me.
No, but any justification for this is out the
Yes,
window.
They are kind of terrorizing communities, and they are trying to build a massive surveillance operation as well to watch social media accounts. They are using an Israeli spyware to try and hack WhatsApp and Signal and other messaging apps. They want people to be as scared as possible, and they're showing it this weekend. Also over the weekend in Chicago, they shot a protester who they claim was part of this threatening group of 10 cars boxing ICE in. And they say that this person had a weapon.
Allegedly.
And of course, yeah, it's all allegedly because it's based on what ICE says. And even Illinois Governor Pritzker this weekend says, well, the media just kind of runs with whatever ICE's story is because they're the only ones giving details at first because they were the ones there.
Whatever the details are, unless somebody is pointing a gun at your head, and even then, I don't know, I bet there's other ways to de-escalate. I don't think shooting a protester is ever the way. So.
Well, the gun had anti-ICE written on it in Sharpie, so.
Oh, inscribed in Sharpie.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes, we don't have the details of that, the specifics. We don't know what's true or what's not. But I know what's true to me is you don't shoot people.
Jonathan, you said, they're clearly trying to scare people as much as possible with their actions and the aesthetic of what they're doing and building themselves up and making them very, very intimidating. But there are so many people who aren't letting them. There was a clip over the weekend in Chicago of ICE, again, allegedly. One guy had like a vest on and one guy was in like jeans and just like a polo shirt with a mask on. And they came out of like a black SUV. And maybe they were ICE, I guess. I don't know. But they were trying to like tie up this guy, and 10 people just started filming them and like bothering them every once in a while, like the ICE, because they're so incompetent, which is another dangerous aspect of this. They're so bad at this that they drop the ties and someone like kick them away or like bring them away, and eventually they left the guy. They stopped because they're bad at it, and enough people were just sort of like filming them, surrounding them, telling them to fuck off, and they got in their, again, ICE vehicle and just drove off. And it's increasing, like, these places that they're going are clearly designed for maximum tension and conflict. They went to Chicago and they want to do Chicago and Portland for a reason. And it's clear that they're very unpopular, and there are enough people who are resisting in ways that are effective, but not effective enough in some cases because ICE is still doing it. They're still raiding all these places.
I mean, we'll get to how they want to stoke things. We'll get to Miller time shortly.
Yeah.
I want to go through, because I find this really interesting, the timeline about the deploying of the National Guard in Oregon and Illinois. At first, we know they're pretending that Portland all of a sudden is in chaos, and the Trump said all weekend, it's burning down, and the governor's afraid to leave. Yeah.
On this point, we're talking earlier, like, there's a woman who is at January 6th, and she got pardoned, and she rejected the pardon because she was like, I shouldn't have done that. And now she's like in Portland being like, they're all so nice here. It's not a hellscape. Like, it's just, it's one of those instances of like, yeah, people can like old ladies can like be like, whoops, and then go and support these folks to prove, they're lying to you. Actually, all the things that they lie, they're lying.
Thank you for saying that.
It's not a wild, war ravaged place.
Thank you for saying that, because it also shows how people can evolve.
Yeah, not everybody.
Not everybody.
Incentives are different for everybody.
Yeah.
And I want to make
I'm
that
not
clear.
saying that, but a little small grain of relief in my heart to remember that people can evolve.
At first, Trump deployed or ordered that he was federalizing the Oregon National Guard, and we're gonna protect ICE facilities and set things right there in Portland because it's war ravaged, etc. A Judge Immergut, said, no, you can't do that. That's illegal. And we're gonna put a stay on that. You can't do that until we figure out these other issues. And so then what the Trump administration did, and I say the administration because I don't think Trump knows that any of this is going on, they said, okay, we're going to take those California National Guards people that we had previously deployed, and we're going to send hundreds of them into Portland. And then the judge called an emergency session last night, or Sunday night, said, wait. This seems like an effort to get around the order I gave. And the DOJ is like, well, you just said you can't deploy the Oregon National Guard. And the judge is like, okay, but I clearly meant because the situation on the ground in Portland objectively does not merit it, and the administration is not acting in good faith, you can't do it. So why don't I just put a new order out there that says you can't deploy any National Guard from anywhere to Portland. So that's going on right now.
But then Texas.
Brave judge, and we'll get to why.
Brave judge.
And then, so now in Illinois, the Texas National Guard is being deployed to Illinois. A judge has not ruled anything on that as of right now, and Governor Greg Abbott couldn't be happier to send his troops into another state.
It's fucking wild. Until there's an emergency and you need the National Guard in your state to help with relief efforts.
We don't have emergencies in this.
We don't have
country.
emergencies, especially not in Texas. When things happen in Texas, it goes smooth and fine. Everything's fine. This is such a clown show.
It's a really dangerous clown show.
Very dangerous clown show.
Well, right. I mean, there's like what ICE is doing is in many ways scarier because they want to do it.
Yes, it is.
And they're going to keep doing it, and they're very well funded. The National Guard is to look tough, to pick up trash in the area, and to try to stoke what Stephen Miller wants to stoke.
Yeah.
So let me read some of his tweets.
He wants a civil war is what he wants. Like, he's just Tim Pooling it out there every single day.
Stephen Miller is very upset at the judges, one of whom who ruled against Trump this weekend was a Trump-appointed judge, I want to mention. But anyway, this is about the judges in general. The issue is very simple and clear. There is a large and growing movement of left-wing terrorism in this country. It is well organized and funded, and it is shielded by far-left Democrat judges, prosecutors, and attorneys general. The only remedy is to use legitimate state power to dismantle terrorism and terror networks. That was Saturday morning. And then Saturday evening, after the judge shut down the Oregon National Guard going to Portland, he wrote, "Legal insurrection The president is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, not an Oregon judge. Portland and Oregon law enforcement, at the direction of local leaders, have refused to aid ICE officers facing relentless terrorist assault and threats to life. There are more local law enforcement officers in Oregon than there are guns and badges in the FBI nationwide. Lie. This is an organized terrorist attack. Also a lie, but I don't feel like I have to point that out. This is an organized terrorist attack on the federal government and its officers, and the deployment of troops is an absolute necessity to defend our personnel, our laws, our government, public order, and the republic itself.
Oh. In Portland?
I mean, this man clearly is on a mission to stoke something.
He wants...
Yeah. He's got to get it in. This is their window. This is their window to do everything. They need it to accelerate fast.
I mean, yeah, he wants a civil war. That's what they're trying to do. That's what Trump he wants the tension and the violence and the conflict to escalate to an unfathomable level, so that they can do all these things that he says out loud. And because also they're not. This is the time. They're not actually popular, or these things that they are doing aren't popular or liked. They're going to keep pushing and pushing, and it's going to get less and less popular. This is like probably the most popular they will be in the administration, unless unless Disney does something too woke, and then they can like shoot their TVs or whatever.
They need this to be as chaotic as possible, to get done as much as possible, so that people can't follow the threads, so that they can say, I said XYZ, and there isn't even enough time or space for there to be a follow-up or a correction or actual information. It needs to be overwhelming. And so this happening in multiple states, this barrage, all people are seeing are headlines, and that's the only justification they need. They need this right now, like you said, with their dwindling popularity before midterms, so that they have as much juice in their tank for whatever bullshit they're spinning. And that is exactly what's happening. And it is working. It's not directly related, but it's also not directly related. Jonathan, tell us about the judge's house that got blown up over the weekend.
Right. So I want to say up front.
Judge's house that blew up. It might not have gotten blown up. Might have just blew up itself.
Yeah.
Maybe they had an e-bike battery.
The cause of this explosion is under investigation, but a South Carolina state judge who ruled against Trump somewhat recently in saying that some data from South Carolina could not be given to the Department of Justice. It was voter data that Judge Goodstein blocked from giving to the Department of Justice, which they did. That was overruled, and they eventually got it. Anyway, that judge's house exploded yesterday.
Her husband was inside.
Her husband,
other people were inside.
I think children and maybe grandchildren.
Yeah.
And several people had to jump from a second story and sustained injuries. So she was on the beach. No one died in this, and the cause of the fire is under investigation.
One more thing. She has been getting death threats for at least a couple weeks.
I'm sure any judge that has ruled
a lot
against
of them
Trump is
have.
getting.
Oh yeah.
I'm
They're
sure.
Terrorist
but let's
judges.
be clear.
That's the whole game they're playing. That's the whole
Let's be
point.
clear, while we're investigating the cause of the explosion, ruled against Trump has been receiving death threats. People are injured, could have died. Political violence.
Yes. I mean, also over the
Probably.
weekend, I'm pretty sure that Charlie Kirk fan killed two girls. Stop killing people is, I think, my main point right now. But this is like what they're wanting. This is why he says terrorist judges all the time. It's why Elon Musk and a bunch of people are like, yeah, do what Bukele did and get rid of all the fucking judges. Like, they're calling for these people to be removed. And some people seem to be accepting that as by any means necessary.
I do think it is. We've been obviously calling the fascist activities fascist for a long time. I think many people have been hesitant to use that word, given that well, Stephen Miller attacks the people who do, and that's
they make lists.
Right. And, they were like, well, listen, we don't want to take the energy out of this word by using it too much. And even some of the people who were hesitant to use it, I think, are coming around to the fact that there's nothing else to call this.
Yep.
Derek Thompson, the writer, who I don't hate, but obviously he's part of a crowd of wise center-left centrist types that I would often disagree with, said, put a list out there and was like, when you're doing all of these things, the don't call me a fascist argument kind of falls flat because you're doing all the things.
What's the other word? What do you say? Bad guy? Are you allowed to say literally the actions are so specific? It's not just it's not even just it's authoritarian or anything like that. It's very specific.
I think it's becoming very, very difficult for mainstream journalists and analysts to use any other descriptor for what is happening.
It's a heavy word that people use pretty flippantly in politics generally, as we've demonstrated on both sides.
As Trump has done regularly.
Exactly, all the time. And as Stephen Miller does as well. And, during Trump's rise, some people said it pretty early on and pointed out a lot of similarities. Adam Todd Brown at Cracked was one of the first people who was like, this is what's going on, actually.
Sure.
And you slowly get there. During Trump's first term, even there are historians. We mentioned Paxton in the past episode. He wasn't really saying it. He's like, yeah, it's the rhetoric and this and this and this, but it requires this. Then January 6th happened, which was a direct attack on democracy, which is part of it as well. And he's like, oh, well, yeah, I guess it was that. And now the people in the media who are the most cautious about any sort of descriptive language or active language in how they present stuff does seem to be I don't know what else to say.
What's interesting that I've been thinking about it the last few days, this whole debate about using the word fascism or not, when we're pointing out things that are very clear. First off, as we've talked about many times, it seems that a lot of people just full on don't understand what fascism is. You're like, oh, you're being hyperbolic. You're being XYZ. There aren't fascists. There are fascists. There are fascist parties around the world. This is not some thing of going around. I think there's a good case for calling people Nazis, but it's not the same thing as saying, that's a World War II Nazi. No, this fascism is a political movement. It is a thing that exists. There are people that identify as it. And if you're just going, la, 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 you're making this up, you're being hyperbolic, you're ignoring the reality, not just of America, but of the world. And that these movements are rising all over the world.
When the guy on the Mehdi Hassan Surrounded describes himself as a fascist and his political ideology is indistinguishable from the Trump administration,
that should be telling.
There you go.
Before we move on from the president and his little cronies and their violence inward, wanted to briefly mention that Trump's still talking about his violence outward. This quote from over the weekend, they love just talking about how they're not going to go to war, but if they did, they would win so many wars. Quote from the president: "The problem with Vietnam, we stopped fighting to win. We would have won easy. We would have won Afghanistan easy, but we got politically correct. We're not politically correct anymore, just so you understand." So it's the political correctness that lost us Vietnam.
And that's our president?
He just wants more war crimes.
Specifics of what.
Yeah.
What would you have done differently? Specifically,
it would have probably done what they did in the Battle of the River of Blood, right?
Oh, the classic Civil War battle.
Yeah, that battle we all know. Yeah, right by his golf course, or I forget where.
Because if the answer is nukes, I'd like to know if that's what
he is implying.
What he means,
probably.
Because it can't be just we had too many women in the field or something. I don't think that's what he means.
Think so.
I've seen a lot of Vietnam movies. I don't remember that many women
not a lot,
in the
yeah.
field in Apocalypse Now and Platoon and etc.
Wowie zowie! It's sort of September in that it's the month after September, and Pluto TV is streaming CBS hits for free. Full seasons you love, such as the courtroom drama that is Matlock, or whatever Fire Country is. There's also Ghosts, which is about ghosts. And y'all know I love some ghosts. And of course, NCIS Origins. Not to mention BYOB Gravel Island, TGIF, BYOB, FX40, The Brief Misadventures of Horse Dog, A, and also the spinoff B. What else? What else is there? Oh, right. There's Scuba, the self-contained underwater breathing anteater. CSI Dumpster. Barbecue Potato Salad Mysteries 4, The Gun Wrestling Showdown 20V Vampire Edition, and of course, Why? I think that's all of them. All of the shows, and all of them for free. That's full seasons of the CBS shows you love this month only, which was last month, on Pluto TV. Stream now, pay never. Ow! This ad is brought to you by Vive Healthcare, the makers of Apretude, cabotegravir. You never skip your SPF, and you carry hand sanitizer like an accessory. But what are you doing for HIV prevention? One way to help protect yourself from HIV is Apretude, a prescription medicine used to reduce the risk of getting HIV in adults and adolescents weighing at least 77 pounds. You must be HIV negative to receive Apretude and get tested before each injection. If you think you were exposed to HIV or have flu-like symptoms, tell your doctor right away. More HIV testing may be needed. Apretude does not prevent other sexually transmitted infections. Practice safer sex to reduce your risk. Get Apretude as scheduled. Missing doses increases your HIV risk. Don't take Apretude if allergic to it or taking certain medicines that may interact. Tell your doctor about your medical conditions, liver problems, and mental health. Serious side effects include allergic reactions or rash, liver problems, and depression. If these occur, get medical help right away. The most common side effect is injection site reaction. Bring your A game and talk to your doctor. Learn more at apretude.com or call 1-888-240-0340.
The government is still shut down. They are not negotiating at all. And Russ Vought is really enjoying this moment to do all the things he's always wanted to do.
Boy, isn't he? He's
younger than you would think as well. This
I
guy.
know.
Every time you see one of these guys, you're like, well, that man's about to die, and they're in their 40s. Anyway, he tweeted last week, he said, nearly $8 billion in green new scam funding to fuel the left's climate agenda is being canceled. The projects are in the following states: California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Hawaii, Illinois, Maryland, Massachusetts, Minnesota, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, Oregon, Vermont, Washington.
Perfect.
What a weird way to say that.
Yeah. That is weird. Why would he say that? Why would he specify?
Right. I think it's because they think everyone's on board with the point of government is to hurt the side that didn't vote for you.
That's hate those states. We hate everybody in those states, and we don't want the green energy. We don't want the solar. We don't want the solar. We don't want the wind.
He also, I mean, it's just so blatant that you're trying to, because this is what Russ Vought has wanted to do for a long time. Project 2025. He wants to get rid of all the spending, no taxes for anybody. It's just the whole government is me canceling things in a room. He tweeted $2.1 billion in Chicago infrastructure projects, specifically the Red Line extension and the Red and Purple modernization project, have been put on hold to ensure funding is not flowing via race-based contracting.
I fucking hate this for this person.
Well, like to make sure that the contractors, they need to be like white enough,
or that this money isn't being spent specifically to benefit certain communities that it should benefit. The point is to benefit, make life better for people.
Or the of the elevated train in Chicago.
People in a certain community can have access to work opportunities. Is that making it race-based? No, obviously this list, all of this, this man has had a plan for a very long time about what he thinks should happen with the federal government. And in order to get that through, and amidst all the chaos, let's just focus on political points so that our side doesn't look too closely. Let's just, again, trot out the right vernacular, the hits of demonizing blue states, those that didn't vote for us. And then people aren't worrying about how this will affect them. A note on this man, he does know what he's doing. It's all a part of this. Do it fast, do it quick. While you can, right now. Lawsuits tie things up in the right way, distract things. It's all a plan to get this done as quickly as possible while they have the opportunity.
Yeah, it takes a very short amount of time to break things and destroy things and tear them down and gut them. Way shorter than it takes to build them back up or build them in the first place. We've talked about before this. Like, oh, it's deregulation. We want small government. No. You want your little king government. You want you want to get rid of anybody who disagrees with you to put in only loyalists in a very small organization so that you can do whatever you want. It's the CEO of the nation sort of thing. Even, what's his face? One of the guys, Scott Adams, Dilbert's dad, was out there. The best form of government would be an authoritarian strongman who had your best interest in heart, which turns out to be Trump. It's a golden age. It's like, oh, how convenient that this one guy has everybody's best interest in heart. Like, that's just an absurd.
What has to have happened to your brain if you legitimately believe that? You're not grifting. Like,
I don't think they
Dilbert
legitimately believe that.
Dogbert,
you think so?
Like,
what? You're right. He probably does.
Doesn't Dogbert do like weird surgery and like he's like a weird experiment guy? Probably like shat in his brain or something like that. I don't know. I don't know what Dilbert does.
He works in an office and
he worked in an office and hated his boss until Scott Adams became too rich, and then suddenly the boss became the hero character. Is what happened actually.
I know much has already been said that everything's moves too quickly, but I just have to acknowledge what we already all knew all along throughout the campaign. Donald Trump pretending that he had nothing to do with Project 2025, that honestly some of that stuff's pretty extreme, but I have nothing to do with it. And then lo and behold, whoops.
I mean,
thinking about that Matt Walsh tweet right after the election. I've been thinking about that a lot.
Yeah, when he's
like, now do we tell him that Project 2025 was the plan all along? Ha ha ha.
Yeah, obviously
our voters are dumb. You have to trick them in order to win.
You have to trick them. Yeah. You have to lie to them.
Now that we've won, we're going to do all the really unpopular stuff
that we distanced ourselves from.
And then Trump finally, like, he didn't even talk about it, but then he was like, was he talking about Russ Vogt? Or he's like, Russell Vogt of Project 2025
yes,
fame.
This is what
the thing I hate.
The thing
that I pretended to hate.
There's a tracker out there. You can see like all the things they've implemented, all the people who wrote things who are in the administration. Obviously, like the FCC chair wrote the whole thing about the FCC in it. They're just all doing it. And I would love if somebody asked a question about that to Vance or Trump so that they can
just say
lie.
You're nasty. That's
I want to see how they lie about it.
Go home and think about what you've done.
You know what? You need to show a little more gratitude when you ask me questions about my lies. I'm talking about JD Vance saying that Joy Reid needs to show more gratitude to America for all it's given her. Seemingly talking about her as if she's an immigrant, which is how that's how he talks about immigrants, but she's not. Not that it would be like
a black woman.
But yes, she is a black woman.
She needs to be really grateful for everything that she has in this country, because if we wanted to, we could do
what? It's so weird and sinister and racist, JD. What a fucking weird guy, pathetic little worm of a man.
One of the 4 specific black women that Charlie Kirk talked about.
Interesting.
In that quote, where he didn't specifically say black women don't have the brain processing power, but he was talking about 4 well-known black women, and then very much generalizing about an entire group of people not having the brain processing power that he did.
And he assumes that was all taken from a white person who deserved it because they do have we assume he meant the brain processing power.
You had to take a white person's spot because Charlie Kirk
And
really
you should be
cared
grateful.
about every MSNBC host being a white man.
Yeah. Ridiculous. I didn't even intend to mention that, but JD Vance sucks so bad. He's always telling people to be grateful for weird, stupid, racist reasons usually. Maybe he should be grateful. Whatever. I'm done with that guy.
We appreciate you guys. I hope you have a good week. And of course, do
What?
not forget
What?
that we
Why?
love you very much.
Too much.